So I was at a party fairly recently, and it was one of those ones other than the folks that invited me to it, I knew virtually no one else there, you know, which, can be a little bit of a struggle sometimes, Um, but I decided to just try and see if whoever I was talking at the party would be receptive to, you know, any of the kind of things I've been trying to discuss on this channel over the last 10 months. So it was actually really, really good, I have to say. I had a very good long hour-long chat, a piece with two guests there, and rather than going for the obvious political route, I decided to try and keep it to at a slightly more abstract level, and I was talking about material determinism in terms of talking about how we value any of our human experiences. And I know, I'm saying that here now, and I can hear how pretentious and almost insufferable it sounds, but we certainly ended up having a good discussion though. So yeah, it was surprisingly good. I had to stop for a second there. There was two drunk lads wandering around in the dark behind me. So, and yeah, particularly as it relates to how we value the experiences and what meaning we put on the experiences we have, and all terribly interesting. Good to talk to people that were very open to the discussion. To try and illustrate my point, an analogy that I used was in trying to talk about, like, if we take a completely material deterministic view of our worldview and apply that to the function of our brain as we live our lives and perceive the world around us, how do we actually manage to ascribe any sort of value or meaning to anything that happens to us or anyone around us? So I picked a kind of a rather extreme example to illustrate my point. I was, and I didn't do it lightly, because this kind of example can be very distressing to people. But I used the example of someone who had suicidal ideation and acted on it and killed themselves. Like, the question I was trying to ask was, could it have been any other way? Could it have been any other way? Because it seems to me that in a material deterministic world, that it's just a set of biochemical switches and synapses and neurons firing as and how they will, and as they must, according to the laws of physics and biochemistry. And in that regard, it's hard to see that it could have been any other way. You could view it as deeply sad, but it's not like you'd be thinking what could have happened to stop that. But I thought it was more. I was making the point slightly better when I asked one of the people I was talking to think of someone who has suicidal ideation, but doesn't kill themselves. They're not really achieving anything either, you see, because they just happen to be in the happenstance of having a brain chemistry that makes them experience suicidal ideation, but they never follow through on it. They're not overcoming anything. It couldn't be any other way either. They'll live, barring some sort of outside agency affecting the outcome. So that being the case, it's incredibly difficult to put any meaning or value on these things then. So then we advance to the whole thing of seeking beyond yourself. as a means of finding fortitude or strength or the ability to deal with things, or even just to marshal your own life. Which, inevitably you're going to start drifting over to metaphysics then. And it was most interesting to hear the thoughts of a couple of other folks talking that through. It's certainly one of the second person I spoke to. I was trying to explain how it was giving me great difficulty maintaining my non-belief. Then we kind of drifted into, oh well, so religion's always treated women badly, kind of becoming a little bit hackneyed. So I said, that's not really what I'm talking about. Not talking about religious practice. I'm talking about an interior journey of thinking about that subject matter and applying that lens. So anyway, that was a few points were had, which I suppose helped the whole thing. But very interesting, and I found the two people who spoke far more receptive to the kind of thoughts I was trying to articulate, which was a very pleasant surprise and ample evidence that you shouldn't go steaming in with the political stuff every single time. Let's try and keep it a bit more chill, It's a nice balmy evening here out at the seaside in the pitch dark. Hopefully you can hear the sea lapping at the shore there gently, hopefully. So thanks for listening.